What is up, everybody? My name is Pino. I am a contemporary artist based out of New York City, and this is my studio. Welcome.
Let me tell you a story about a man.
Me and Jason were looking for a studio March 2024. We found this spot and we moved in. It's quite an intimate little space. We're sitting at about 600 square foot, divided by 3 artists. We now have another studio mate that is going to be moving into this little section. His name is Alamo. He's going to be a great addition to the space. We are here at the same time, not all of the time. It's easy to be creative with the homies, but there is a lot of talking, catching up, a lot of bullshitting. But what I do love about, like the chit chat and like the constant, conversations that you have is somehow that always inspires me to paint better. Or it gives me new ideas for, something that I probably wouldn't have thought of. I definitely like being here. It's kind of like a home away from home. This is a time for you to kind of meditate and just get lost in your creativity. Once you're comfortable and satisfied with what you currently have, it opens up the universe to go ahead and say like, oh, he's ready for more. And I'm never going to opt out of an opportunity to grow and be a little bit more uncomfortable, whether it's financially because, you have now a bigger studio space. But every single decision that I've ever made to go ahead and grow and to get uncomfortable has always led me to just manifest greater and more, which I absolutely love. You never make it as an artist or as a creative. There's always more, there's always levels. You get to the level of like Picasso or George Condo or Basquiat, right? Like these are the greats, and like in order to reach those levels of successes, your name has to be world renowned. And I would consider myself to be on a professional level, yes. But would I consider myself, like one of the greatest artists of all times? No, I'm a good artist. I'm a successful artist. But I'm also a humble artist, like I know that there is so much more to achieve, and the only way that I'm going to be able to achieve that is by sticking with it and by keeping the grind alive and the network alive, because without that, like you're just kind of like being stagnant and nothing's growing. So it's important to believe in yourself, but it's also important to not get too cocky when it comes to this artist game. At the end of the day, like I am a full-time artist, and like this is my business and this is the way that I make money. And if I do not sell artwork in the form of originals, prints, merch, like whatever it is, live paintings, then I'm not making money. So I have to come up with a whole business plan or a business side of it. There's certain artwork that I do that they love it, but it's like, I don't know if I could put that in my house. It has like maybe a little bit too much death in it, like too much death motifs where a little heavy on like the skull and the skeleton or the symbolism or whatever it is. So people, they tend to shy away, especially if they are very family dynamic versus, like my abstract work. It still carries all the same elements, but it's just more broken down and abstract, and like people, they don't really understand what's going on unless they really look at it for a long time and they pay attention, to the motifs that I use constantly. I'm kind of like looking to break down what I've already done and mature it in such a way that it's still identifiable as me and my work. However, it's so different, so radical, with like the way that I throw down the paint, and also just like the energy behind it. I want it to be unrecognizable, super elevated, but also very bare bones and minimalistic at the same exact time. So there's something that I'm grabbing for. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's kind of like a mix of everything that I used to do all in one and thrown onto the canvas in a very artsy but minimalistic way. I don't know if that made any sense, but I see it in my head. And sometimes you don't have to like have it all down in writing or a sketch of it first. That's the beauty about like creativity, is that like if you could see a vision for it in your head, that's the only thing that matters. Because if you're consistent with, you know, trying to bring that vision to life, eventually you're going to see that vision start to grow.
Are you hard on yourself, or you kind of pat yourself on the back and you don't really critique it? You're like, oh, you'll do better on the next one.
Man, that's a fun question. I like that. No, I am hard on myself a lot. There are many paintings that I do that like just come so easy, so naturally for me, and I'm like, man, I can't believe that came out of me. Like that's awesome. And then there's times where like I'm like trying to do something and like it's not coming out, and I'm like questioning my entire psychological like, you know, frame of thought. Man, like some days I completely believe in myself. You're a master of your reality. You got this. You're gonna fucking take over the world. You're gonna be the next best thing. Like, you know, like you're gonna achieve everything that you've ever dreamed and desired. It's almost as if like I see it happening. I see it manifesting in real time. And there's other times where just out of nowhere, I get a fucking smack in the face, and it's like, who the fuck are you? And I'm completely questioning my entire reality, where it's like, man, maybe I've been like believing in this fucking lie, this delusion that I just created for myself, to where I hype myself up so much that I think that I could actually become like this artist, you know, like this world-renowned artist, or just renowned, you know, for myself. And I question my reality so hard that like it gets me sick, you know, where I'm like, maybe I should just throw in the towel. You know, maybe this artist journey wasn't for me. And then I'm back to, you know, like just hyping myself up and like saying, you know what, no, like fuck that lie. Like you've seen, you know, like this stuff manifest. You sold paintings for, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20,000 and up. Like what are you crazy? Like you've proven it to yourself. So what I do know is whatever's going on up here, you have to check that constantly, because life is cyclical, and there's going to be highs and there's going to be lows. And if you're not cool with the lows coming and challenging the fuck out of you, then you're gonna be in for a rude awakening, because it's not fun. It's not fun whenever you're down to your last dollar and you're putting like all of your bills on like credit cards and stuff because you can't figure out how to sell a painting, or nobody's interested in your work during a season. And then all of a sudden, whenever life starts getting amazing, and you start selling paintings and you start doing all the things and you do have a show and you sell out or whatever, and then you have all this money, now you're fucking like stoked on the artist journey? No, you have to be in it for both seasons. Through, you know, feast and famine, through the light and the dark, and it's not an easy path, man. It's not an easy journey. This artist life, you have to have real thick skin in order to make it in the artist game, for sure. I don't even know where the fuck that came from, but whatever.
You can't be there just in the fair weather of it.
Yeah.
You know?
I like that, man. It's 100% true, dude. It's funny because right now I'm going through, you know, like one of those dry seasons, or those seasons where it's like I don't feel anything really happening, but also it's like winter. And the winter's always fucking brutal. You know, like I get like seasonal depression, and I always see it coming. Like it always surprises me, but it shouldn't, because every single winter it's the exact same thing. And then come springtime, it's like, all right, fuck, let's go. Like, you know, and I try to prepare every single year for the winter and for the dry spells and for all of that. But sometimes shit just like catches you off guard. And sometimes whenever you're winning, you want to celebrate all the time. You know, like it's easy to, you know, go out every single night and fucking do the things and celebrate and eat good and party and fucking, you know, buy the thing that you've always wanted, and it's a fucking roller coaster, dude. I love it, but I also hate it at the same exact time. Sometimes it's just not fun, dude. There's nothing inherently wrong with the ego. I think like the ego is good whenever you're trying to believe in yourself, whenever you're trying to create dreams, whenever you're trying to manifest all the things that you want. But also you have to check it always. You have to check it at the door, because sometimes it can, and it has, you know, destroyed many people. Pride comes before great, you know, downfall. And sometimes the ego is just a little bit too puffed up and puffed out, and yeah, it has to be checked at the door. Sometimes you got to humble yourself and understand that at any given time, at any given day, your whole world could be rocked, and you got to be prepared for it. And the ego does not like being put in its place. That's why if you purposely do it regularly, whenever randomly it is checked and it is put in its place, you're kind of cool with it. It's almost like you've already disciplined the ego enough to where it's like, all right, yeah, we're here again. So initially, what drew me to the motifs and like, I guess like the things that I like to talk about in my paintings is life in general. It's the physical, it's the emotional, it's the spiritual, it's the financial, it's the journey of life. All of us, we are going to experience all of these things. We are going to experience the duality of hot and cold and life and death and good and evil, and embrace all of it in order to, you know, like be a proper functioning human being. I didn't want the dark side. I didn't want the negative sides, and every single time that they would come, I would run and run and run and distract myself and do all the things not to feel those things. I would run from the negativity. I would run and distract myself from all that crap. And then I started to understand that it's not going anywhere. And you have to come to a place in life where you have to be cool with the fact that life fucking sucks sometimes, and it's not going to change unless you purposely change it yourself. I think really too is like I was always like looking for a savior. You know, I grew up very religious, and I did my first Holy Communion and my confirmation and all that jazz. I didn't really believe in Jesus or the, you know, Catholic Church at the time, but I went because I was forced to. Flash forward, I had a spiritual experience where I started going to church, and I was walking like the Christian faith, and that was a form of religion as well, which I didn't realize at the time. But like, I was always like hopeful that, like, you know, Christ would come down and save me, you know, save me in my situations. And it got to the point to where, like, obviously I knew that I had to put in the work, but like it got to the point to where I didn't want to do the hard work. I was hoping that, you know, like a savior would come and save me, or that he would put somebody in my life that would change my life, that would give me an opportunity, that would help direct me and save me from myself, from the stupid decisions that I was making during the seasons of my life, right? And what I realized is that nobody's gonna fucking come and save you. Actually, quite the opposite. Like, people are gonna turn a fucking blind eye to you and your fucking problems and your struggles and your whiny fucking bitching, complaining attitude. Nobody likes being around a negative person, a person that has like a victim mindset. Everybody fucking hates that. And it wasn't until I realized that, man, I am my own fucking savior, that my whole world started changing, because I took accountability for everything that I was doing in my life. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't believe in God, because I do. I'm very spiritual when it comes down to, you know, like my thinking and my upbringing. But I do know that the kingdom of heaven is found within. Me and God, we are one and the same. We are not different. God is everywhere. The universe is everywhere. We are all collectively one with the Creator. There's no difference, within that. And with that being said, the only way to rise above is to be purposeful and to raise your frame of thought, raise your mindset, raise your vibration to the point to where you stop crying like a little whiny bitch and you just actually just say, you know what, these are circumstances that are happening in my life right now, and the only way that I'm going to get through them is if I do the hard work and I put in the time and I put in the labor and I put in the positive vibes into the universe, and I start giving and I start loving and I start being kind again. And whenever you start walking in that kind of way and in that kind of direction, you will start to see growth. You will start to see the tides changing and shifting into your favor because you are putting in the hard work, and whatever you put into the universe is going to give right back to you. Very big into the power of manifestation, the power of the tongue. Whatever you speak into life, that is what you're going to get. So if you speak negatively, you're going to, reap negative. If you speak positive, you're going to, reap positive. Life and death is in the tongue. Those who love it will eat the fruits thereof. That was deep. To hang my work inside of their place, like it's cool. It's like a rock and roll feeling, but also it's like a very humbling feeling. Like, man, I would have never thought that like I would have collectors all around the world. Like it's a beautiful thing whenever somebody believes in you enough to invest in you. I knew that if I wanted to get my artwork out there and sell a painting, I had to put it on my social media. And I knew that if I wanted to have people kind of take me seriously, I had to maybe do like a show with some of the work that I had. And so I reached out to a buddy of mine that had a studio in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Navy Yards. And I was like, hey dude, like I know that you have like a studio, it's like a photography studio, design studio, but you have all these free walls. Like, can I do a show in your studio? Like, I'll just tape up all the canvases that I have. Like, I'm not going to invest in bars or framing all the work. I'm just guerrilla style. And then I invited every single one of my homies, everybody that was in my circle at the time. I'm like, you guys come. I think I was selling every piece for like $250, $500. And I only sold one piece, and I was like, all right, whatever. Like, we're all fucking young and broke and trying to make our dreams come true. It is what it is. So I did a couple more little guerrilla shows like that at other friends' studios. I started seeing opportunities, for artists, group shows and this, that, the other. And I started applying to certain things, and I ended up landing a solo show in Long Island City right before the pandemic hit in February. I think I might have sold like one or two pieces. This guy that owned an art gallery in Manhattan ended up reaching out to me saying, hey dude, like I want to come see the show of yours. Your work is amazing. Let's do a show at my gallery in the city. And I'm like, all right, cool. Come check out the show in Long Island City, see all the work, whatever doesn't sell from here. We don't have any contracts laid out. We can just show the same exact work. And he's like, all right, cool. He came, he saw it, he loved it. And then a week later, the pandemic hit. And we couldn't do the show anymore because everything was on lockdown. But the guy was so in love with my work that he was like, dude, like I have all these collectors, man. Like I know that they would want to buy. Like, what are your price points? Blah blah blah. Do you have a catalog? Do you have all of your work in one solid place? And I'm like, yeah, I'll send you everything that I have. And we ended up selling a shit ton of work during the pandemic via his Rolodex, his clients, and just the people that he knew. And then also that spiraled into me starting a 3-year contract with him and an investor guy in London that bought an entire collection of my work, and we ended up selling a shit ton more work after that. Flash forward 3 years, that contract ended last February, and my manager and I, we went our separate ways. He exhausted his entire Rolodex. I've just been kind of like doing it solo and looking for a new artist management company. Right now I am with an agency called Fill-In. That agency is more of a commercial agency, so we've done a lot of stuff, and there's only a bright future, man. I plan on getting a little painting in. I need to paint a little bit just to, like get sane again. And then I have a couple of meetings in the city, which should be fun. I've definitely worked with many different brands. I'm not opposed to working with brands. Brands are a great way to, for an artist to make money. I've done brand work before. I've done a whole collection with New Denim, based out of Australia. I was an artist in residency with them back in like 2022, I believe it was, spring 2022. And that was fun. We put artwork on their t-shirts and stuff, and we did some really cool things. I paint leather jackets. I'm very like fashion friendly. I'm into upcycling, like vintage and used, denim and canvas and leather, and making artwork out of it. Now, is that to say, I will work with every brand out there? No, but I definitely will work with the brands that I think are fucking cool, and they speak to my energy. But I want to do more brand work for sure, more fashion stuff. I don't want to make my, my artwork seem cheesy by putting it on like clothing. I don't want like merchandise and memorabilia like right now at this stage, but I do want to do some really cool like brand collaborations, like maybe with like Shot leather jackets, maybe with like Kith or some really big up and coming fashion brands or established already. I definitely see my artwork living in an elevated collaboration. But as far as like my merch drops, I keep them simple. But I'm really hyper focused on like the fine art, original art portion of it, and then also print drops every once in a while. That's one thing that I'm going to start getting into a lot more, is doing and utilizing print drops every month from this day going forward, or this month going forward. So I'm really stoked to launch that. It's something that I'm really excited about. I was thinking about that. I'm like, man, how much further would I have been within my career if I would have just devoted my time to everyday sketching or everyday morning pages or everyday goal tracking or whatever it is, right? Like, the only way to become great at something is if you are consistent at it. Consistency is fucking key, dude. Like we were saying before, talking about people being genuine, like a lot of these artists, they have to kind of sell their soul, to a business plan or a record deal that bastardizes their process. And nothing wrong with that, like if you want to make money, but there's something wrong with that whenever you want to read as authentic. So I've been living in New York for 16 years. And before I moved to New York, I was doing skateboarding, and I was doing it semi-professionally. I was making money, I was traveling, I was on tour. I was doing demos at different like festivals and whatnot, and I think that's where like my influence came from: music, fashion, art, like all of it. Like skateboard decks have art on it, but like I think skateboarding really had like the best of every single world encompassed within it. So I was immediately just turned on to all the fucking coolest things right away. I had a very strong sense of style and like, fashion, a great music taste, and then, just the art world in general. But I never really focused on the art part of it. I knew what I was doing was cool and monumental. I just never really paid attention to it that closely. So I saw the art and I saw the artists and stuff, and it just kind of like went over my head essentially for a good portion of it. But then as I got older, I started really noticing like that there are people that actually make like livings doing the things that I love. And so I started to embrace the idea of maybe that could be me one day. You know, maybe I can make it in a certain, you know, industry. And so I always wanted to do something creative with my life and with my time. And I never really wanted to settle for a full-time job of sorts and not chase my dreams. I always had the idea like, if at some point in the future I can't make a living doing it, then I will resort to, you know, doing that. But like, as long as I try to do something, as long as I try to do something that is rewarding and fulfilling within myself, and it doesn't work out, then at least I tried. But if it does work out, then fuck yeah, I want it to work out. I hope it works out in some sort of shape or form, right? So right now we are still in the process of, is this fucking gonna work out? Is this going to work out? And if so, it better fucking work out soon. No, it's a constant process, man. It's a building process. It's working out. I've been a full-time artist for the last 5.5 years, and to be honest, like, there's always fucking, you know, ebbs and flows, and there's always something to complain about, and there's always something more that you want to do or that you want to see happen. But all in the right time, you just got to enjoy the journey, man. You got to enjoy the process. I know that many people, they want to see things being built. They want to see growth. They want to see demand. And while I do want to see all that kind of stuff as well, I'm enjoying the process. I'm enjoying the journey. I'm enjoying the fullness of all of it. And I'm embracing all of it too. The highs and the lows, the good times and the bad, all of it. Because every single time that I've ever looked back in my life, and I look back at like a hard trying time, and I realized that I was present, and I realized that I was actually going through it and not distracting myself from it, I could always look back and like see the reward that came from it, from me being present, from me embracing the fullness of the process. Size canvas like this could take me anywhere from a couple hours to a couple of days to a couple of weeks to a couple months. It just depends on how, I don't know. There's always like that time whenever you think you're done, or do I go more, when an artist is like, he's challenged with, or he or she is challenged with, is it complete? And I guess like it's an inherent feeling that we get that is like, okay, I'm comfortable with this. It feels balanced. It feels, you know, like the colors, you know, vibe with one another correctly. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I do push it way too far, and then like I completely ruin a piece. Other times I'm stuck and I'm sitting on a piece for, you know, months because I don't know the next direction that I have to go. But it always ends up working out, dude. Somehow, some way.
Yeah.
I always end up figuring it out, or it ends up figuring it out for me. Yeah, I think that there's many different types of artists out there as well. Depends on what they're trying to do, what they're trying to build. And I know that, like me, I don't want to just be like a commercial artist, you know, or an artist that, you know, is like here today and you know, gone tomorrow. And that I'm like doing work that is easy, or not even easy, but maybe like more of like an illustrative style of work, or or more of a commercial style of work. I want my work to, you know, have meaning. I want to, you know, challenge myself to, you know, like take it to such a professional way, such a mature way, so where it can live in galleries, you know, or museums one day. Not every single body of work that I do, not every painting, I don't want it to, you know, live in a museum, and not every single one will. But I do want to kind of move more in that direction where it's like, oh, this is museum quality work. I don't know how to get there, but I think with every single painting that you do, the more that you look at the masters, the more that you embrace what they were trying to say and initiate with their work, the more that I guess it falls on you as well, and the more that you want to create in such a way. I think it's a lot of practice. I think that it's a lot of discipline, a lot of dedication to the craft, a lot of networking, a lot of good friends, a lot of quality relationships, but also a lot of fucking being in the right place in the right time. A lot of fucking luck. You're never going to be able to level up with people that are on the same level as you, or people that are below you. The only way that you're going to be able to level up is by finding people that are doing what you're doing and are surpass those levels. And it's all about the relationships that you build too. It's like, because if you're a shitty person, the people at the top, they're not going to want to fucking hear your bitching and complaining. They're not going to. They want to see a dedication, a certain level of dedication, a certain level of drive, a certain level of persistence, consistency when it comes to your work, your craft, in order for them to believe in you enough to invite you into their circle, and also invite you, you know, into some sort of mentorship. I love the ideas of mentors, and the only way to the top is by finding somebody that's doing exactly what you are doing it better, is doing it on such a level that surpasses where you are, right? Finding people that you resonate with and that are authentic in their own craft, but are levels ahead of you. I think that that's the only way that you could rise and grow, is through that community and through those connections. There's no real rule book to, you know, how to make it in a certain industry, and that's probably a good thing, because then anybody could fucking do it. But I think the ones that are, you know, most eager and that have the most drive, they will set themselves apart, and they will take their journey seriously, and they will see fruit from their hard work and dedication with time. Got to be willing to go with the punches. I think a certain level of maturity also too. Whenever you get to those high places, you learn those lessons of not being a victim, also not believing in your current circumstances. Because if we were to believe in our current circumstances always, our current circumstances, they never look, primarily, they never look the most appealing. So if you were to constantly be living in like expectations of what your circumstances look like, then you're never going to make it out of those circumstances. So I think the people that are most successful in their life, they've learned how to deal with failure and just bullshit, and they learn how to shut that voice up in their head and to keep going regardless, but also have a solid game plan in place to try to build them up for success, because you can't just fucking go into anything blind. I would be foolish to say, I want to be an artist and a successful artist, right? And never paint. And to never try new things, and to never, reach out to a gallery to see if they want to have a show with me, right? I would be foolish to not do the things that are going to bring me that success. And so with that being said, like I do those things that are going to hopefully open up a door in some shape or form that will give me eyeballs or a certain level of recognition, or a platform to stand on that I could utilize to raise the stakes a little bit more, right? Mm-hmm. And not every single platform that I've been given that I've actually was able to stand on has been lucrative or the right platform, and that's okay, because that's just all a part of failing. I like the idea of like failing forward. I forget where I heard that from, but that's the only way to move forward, is by continuously just failing at something. Same exact thing with whenever you work out. In order to see growth in your muscles has to, come to the point of failure. And that's a hard thing for people to identify with, because who in their fucking right mind wants to go through that kind of turmoil and that kind of misery purposely? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's always a better problem to have too many ideas versus not having any. And that's where probably like the pen and paper come into play, right? Where it's like, okay, my mind is like full of all these ideas. Let's jot them all down and get to them one-on-one, where we take care of one goal first. We take care of one idea first, and we achieve that, and we do it to the best of our ability, and then we move on to the next idea. It's always good to have it's always a good thing to have too many ideas. Mm-hmm. Whenever you're in a place to where you don't have any ideas, that's a fucking scary place. Where it's like a painter's block of sorts, right? That's a hard place to be. It's also a hard pill to swallow. It's hard to shake out of that. It's not easy. It's not that I don't want to be a commercial artist. I've done commercial work before, and I still do. It's just kind of like you gotta come to a point in your career choices where, what kind of artist do I want to be? There's so many different types of art. There's illustrative art, there's commercial art, there's museum quality art, there's like real fine art, there's contemporary art, there's minimalist art, there's like all different types of art. It's like, I'm not trying to, spread myself too thin or identify with only one type of art that I'm only limited to doing or capable of doing. But it's more of like, in order to grow anything, you have to hyper-focus on a particular skill set and do that one skill set to the best of your fucking ability and show the world that, like, I am fucking amazing at this. Because that's when the money starts flowing through. If you're spreading yourself too thin and you're trying to do all these different types of things, you're just confusing your audience at that point. And your audience is like, well, I know that you're really good at all these different types of things, but I'm really only looking for this one thing. The more that you could hone in on that one thing, I think the better that you do for yourself in the early stages. And then whenever you build kind of like that brand identity, then you can start, branching off and showcasing to the world all the other fucking amazing things that you could do as an artist, because you are a talented fucking artist. It's just that they didn't know that you could do all these other things until now, because you've only been keeping them in the dark. You've only been showing them one fucking lane this entire time. Sticking to that niche. Sometimes I have trouble with that niche too, dude. or with proving myself in that kind of way. There's many starving artists out there that can't just like figure out how to like fucking put together the pieces, build that community. But it is possible. I've seen it happen time and time and time and time again. Not only in just my own life, but in other people's lives that are chasing their dreams. It's hard to be fucking really stoked for people, man. Especially whenever your life's looking like shit, or it's not going the way that you planned. And it's just like, well, what if that actual way to level up on your own is to fucking be, happy for people and to be thankful for everything that you got, and to congratulate people whenever, they have wins, and to be more aware of that kind of stuff. And what if that is the key to propelling, you in your shit, in your failure, whenever you're going through like difficult times and stuff. What if the key to unlocking more success in your life is by just being stoked for others? I think that is the key, dude. I don't know. It's been working for me. I think people are a little bit more stoked in life whenever they have other people cheering them on. I know every single person that's ever given me an opportunity, or has been fucking amazing to me, or thankful for me, or proud of me, it releases some sort of like endorphins within you, like that is like, man, like I'm actually like fucking doing cool things, so I can only say good things about that. Like, I don't even know what I'm painting right now. It's just, this is kind of the way I paint, where I'm like, this feels like it's working. And I just keep going and going and going and going and going until, and this thing will change multiple times. Probably next time you see it, it'll be unrecognizable from where it all started. But hopefully we'll land the plane somewhere, and it'll make some sense. Especially whenever I don't have like a real clear vision in my head of something that I want to start, or an idea. Like lately, I just have not had any ideas. And so the way that I combat or entice myself to come up with ideas is by just doing the basic exercise. It's kind of like working out. Like, not every day that you feel motivated to go work out, but by going to work out, you're staying in line with your truth. You're keeping your body healthy. You're staying active. You're staying energized. You know that it's doing something good for your mind, for your positive, for your mental health. But not every single day do you feel motivated to. And then like all of a sudden you're doing that for a week, and you're like, man, I fucking feel amazing. And then you do realize that by just doing that act, eventually you become motivated to, like want to hit the gym again. Or you might meet somebody at the gym and you guys motivate one another. But it's just the sheer act of doing it that kind of kickstarts or primes the psyche, or the internal process of cultivating ideas. So to be honest, I have zero clue where this is going, but I'm here and I'm in the process of just putting down paint on the canvas in hopes that it will ignite something in me. The cool part about the cell phone is like it's easy to set up. It's like boom, 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 and then like it's all on your phone. You could edit it on your phone. You could upload it on your phone. Like, it's all right there. But yeah, this is what I want to do more of. I want to do more of this and talking about like all the things and then uploading it, because I think that this is what people want to see. I've been posting regularly, but most of the time people, they don't want to just see a fucking another art piece, you know, that is superimposed into art rooms that make it look like, you know, it's somebody's living space. People, they buy art for some of those reasons, but really the people want to know about like the art world, the art process, you know, life as an artist. They want to get to know the artist. They want to get, you know, I think it could be cool to, you know, just start cultivating that. I can't tell you how many times like somebody's like, dude, I want to buy a painting or whatever, and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm so stoked, like we're gonna fucking, you know, come up, and then it never happens, and you're just like, fuck. You gotta be willing to go with the punches, man. It's always good whenever you do make some sales, or you come up on some money, or you have all these promising fucking things. But where the real test is done and is made is when the rubber meets the road and you're going through the fucking thick of it. And are you willing to still continue going? That is where the magic is happening. Life is like an elevator, and there's many different levels on this elevator, and on every single floor there's people that get on the elevator and that they get off. And we're not supposed to be in relationships with every single person that we've ever met our entire lives. That's not the way life works. There's only a select few people that are going to be able to stay in your life long term. I only have a couple of friends since I've been a teenager that I've been, you know, friends with for a really long time. The other people, they come and they go. And some new people, you develop really amazing relationships and they become lifelong friends. But yeah, life is an elevator, dude, and we can't rely on people to stay. And we can't expect everybody to, you know, to go, and we just gotta be thankful for the ones that, you know, come into our lives at the certain seasons, and for the times that we do have, all of them, the good, bad, the ugly, because we learn lessons from even those trying times, and they teach us how to become better people in the long run.